now, and welcome to Lavish Weeds Homestead. My name's Lori. Today, I figured I'd do a little chicken talk with you. Okay, let's do some chicken talk. First of all, if you're just starting out with chickens, don't go hog wild. Don't go to the store and buy the 6, 12, however many. Find a small little store that will allow you to get 1, 2, I would get more than just 1, but like 2, or I wouldn't get more than 4 for starting. The reason I say that is you want a small amount that you can learn about chickens. You want to be able to not only learn if you like having chickens or if you don't. You may sit here and be watching somebody have chickens on YouTube and you're like, oh wow, I would love to be able to do that. And then you get the chickens and you're like, ugh, I don't want to do that. So if you've never had chickens, then just find some place that will let you get 2 or 3 or something like that. I did that. I knew I liked chickens because when I was younger we had them. But I hadn't had them in so long that I wanted to make sure that I still wanted chickens. So we got 2 of them, and I started out with those. I got one that was considered a multi-purpose bird, which means that she lays eggs, and she also could be used for meat if I wanted to. And then I had what's considered a layer. And layers are those that simply lay eggs. Now, yes, you could technically eat them. They're still a chicken, but they're not going to get plump and big like a dual purpose or a meat bird. Now, even dual purpose birds don't get probably as big as a meat bird. And if they do, it takes them longer. So we started out with the 2, and we thought we liked it. We knew we liked it. And then we ended up moving to Tennessee, and one of them didn't come with us. So we purchased 2 more, and once one of them got to a point of being able to lay eggs, she would lay eggs, she was doing good, and then one day she started acting funny, and due to me being ill, I didn't notice it, and my husband was just doing what he could to feed and water them. He started telling me, he's like, she's acting funny. I was like, well, what do you mean by acting funny? He didn't know. A few days later, we realized that she had become egg-bound. Neither of us knew what egg-bound looked like, but now at least my husband does and I have an idea as well. So if another bird becomes egg-bound, we can at least act sooner and hopefully save that bird. But in any type of farm type situation, you can't save them all. So don't feel bad if you do lose a few birds. So we ended up with 2 again. And then in January of 2021, I made the mistake of going to Rural King, which is a local store here, and seeing all the lovely little fluffy chicks. And I ended up getting 9 chickens, or chicks. We ended up losing one of them, which again, I expected to at least lose 1. I would have liked not to, but that's okay. And they stayed in the house from, I believe we got them about the 2nd week of January, and they stayed in the house until probably 2nd week of March because of how the weather was here. Was not my ideal thoughts. I ended up having them in a dog kennel for a while until the weather got warm enough for them. Yes, a lot of them had their feathers, and yes, I know people state once they get all of their feathers they can be put outside. I understand that. But they were young birds, and I may have been being overcautious, but that's fine. My piece of advice there is if you don't want the birds to be in your house for an extended period of time, then don't get the cute little chicks in January. Wait until probably about March and grab you a few chicks, because then as they get their feathers, the temperatures will be warm and you can start letting them out more. Some of the things that you're going to want to get when you get chicks is you're going to need a chicken coop, and you're going to need a feeder, a waterer, a heater, and a tote or something to put them in. There's several different types of heaters you can get. You can get the ones that have just the bulbs. If you get those, be mindful of where you put them, and keep an eye on them. They can start fires. I have been lucky enough not to have anything even remotely look like it's done that. Then you have some that look like a shelf that are heaters. I've heard a lot of people state that those are very good. They don't have to worry about home burning down and things like that with those. But you figure out what you can afford and what's best for you. Also, you can, with the waterer, you can use just a simple bowl. At one point I had a dog bowl. Because when we first got our 2 chicks, we honestly were not ready for them. So we got a dog bowl, threw some rocks in, and put some water in there. I put the rocks in so that the chicks wouldn't fall in and drown. For the feeder, I just ended up using a paper plate. Sorry guys, my brain's not working. A paper plate. Just, you have to make sure you get what's called starter crumble or chick starter so that they have the proper nutrition. And they have to stay on that until they're around 16 to 18 weeks. And that's if you have laying hens. Now, if you're doing meat birds, sorry, I'm not good at that one yet. Give me a while. But for laying hens, they normally start laying between 18 and 21 weeks. There are a few that will start around week 16. But you have to look at the breeds that you have and get an idea of when they're going to start. So about 18 weeks, I normally start them on layer feed so that as their body changes and gets ready to lay some eggs, they're already got the proper amount of protein. I love my chickens. Honestly, I do. They all have little personalities. We have one that doesn't mind. Actually, we have a few that don't mind being picked up. Then we have one that you don't want to even try. She will flog you with your wings. Birds are like any other animal, and they just have their own little personalities. Another thing I like about having my chickens is if I happen to have any scraps of vegetables, I can just toss them out here and not feel like I'm wasting anything. Now, you do have to be mindful. There are things that you cannot feed them. So before you toss anything to your chickens, just do a quick research and find out what you can't do. But for the most part, just about anything can be fed to them. Mine actually got sick of pumpkins after Mine actually got sick of pumpkins after I fed them a few. Had them left over from Halloween and November, so gave them a treat. To the point to where they were like, we don't want them. They didn't even eat the last one I gave them. I had to go put it in my compost pile. Your setup for your chickens doesn't have to be anything fancy. Right now we have a chicken coop attached to a dog pen. And of course we've put up you can see it, we've put up some, put a tarp over it so that they have some shade, and they don't necessarily get rained on. Right now I have a tarp over their other run, and I also have some plastic over their coop to help them keep and stay warm. I also try to keep straw in their coop, but one of my older chickens, I don't know why, but she hates straw. She hates it all. I've tried so many different things to put in their coop, and she will literally sit at the opening and just scratch it out to where there's nothing in there. And I feel bad, because it's like, I'm trying to make this nice and fluffy and soft for you guys, and she's like, nope, I don't want it. And it's so funny because she'll sit there and fuss the whole time. She hates to see me put anything in their coop. Thanks for spending time with me. If y'all liked this video, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and hit that little bell so that you'll know the next time that I upload. Bye!